Well, it only took like 7 months to get here, but I finally got my hands on a Harley Benton. This is the HB35 Plus. Let's check it out. So yes, we finally have a Harley Benton on the channel. I know you guys have been requesting this for like a really long time. And to be fair, I did place my order in January and it's now August. So it's not for a lack of trying. This guitar definitely had some twists and turns along the way, which we'll talk about in a second. But is this guitar worth it? Is a Harley Benton worth the hype? Everybody loves these guitars, high quality, low cost. We're going to look at it in great detail, see if the deal is as good as it appears to be. Yes, so as I mentioned, this is the Harley Benton HB35 Plus in this absolutely gorgeous lemon drop finish. Now, before we get into all the specs and tones, there's one thing I want to say about Thomann. Now, Thomann is a huge music retailer in Europe and pretty much handles all the Harley Benton stuff. Now, as I mentioned, I ordered this guitar in January, and a few months later, in May, I noticed I got charged and a shipping notification. So I was like, sweet, the Harley Benton is on its way. Now, I'm a pretty busy guy, and time went by, and suddenly I thought, what happened to that Harley Benton? I paid for that, and I got a shipping notification. Where's the guitar? So I emailed them and I was like, what happened to the guitar? And they're like, oh, yeah, sorry about that. We sent it back to Germany and sold it to somebody else. I was like, wait, what? I paid for this guitar. Where's the guitar? And it turns out they're having trouble getting it to Canada. But instead of like letting me know, like sending me an email or calling me or notifying me some way and just saying, hey, Daryl, we're having trouble getting it to Canada. We're going to have to, try on the next shipment or whatever. Or maybe just like, switch shipping providers, get it to me somehow. But anyway, they didn't let me know. I had to track them down, and then it turned out they sent the guitar back to Germany and sold it to someone else. So this is my only experience with Thomann, and it has not been good. Now, hopefully, your experience is much better. But anyway, eventually the guitar came, we got it straightened out, and they sent it to me. So here it is. Let's dive in and take a closer look at the Harley Benton HB35 Plus. All right, so let's quickly hit up some of the highlights of this guitar. Then we'll do all our tones. At the end of the video, I'm gonna go through it with a fine-tooth comb and find out what the construction is like. So should be pretty interesting. Now, in terms of the specs, what this guitar is, we've got a maple neck and a Pau Ferro fingerboard. We've got 22 frets with block inlays, and we've got a maple body. And the site says we've got a quadruple A flame maple arched top. Now, I mean, this guitar is very attractive. I'll try to show it off in a few different lights so that you can really, get a sense of that top. But, maybe a double A flame maple top on a good day. So, for them to say it's a quadruple A flame top is a little bit misleading. And, that's like a PRS 10 top or something like this. So, I mean, this is a quadruple A flame top. So if you're expecting something like this and your guitar shows up and it's not this, just be forewarned. I don't think they should have that on their website. I think it's misleading, but it does have a flame top, just, pretty modest. Now, as for the rest of the specs, we've got the classic stop tailpiece, 2-pneumatic bridge, and then we've got 2 Alnico 5 Roswell pickups. So should be interesting to see what those sound like. And on this model, the HB35 Plus, we get coil splits, which is not really a common feature on a guitar of this style. So you can just pull out your volumes, split the coils, and get some, brighter single coil type sounds. So we'll test that out in a second, but a really nice feature on a guitar, especially in this price range, and especially, in this configuration. So that's kind of like the rough specs. As I said, we'll get into all the nitty-gritty after the tones, but for now, let's plug it in, see what it sounds like. All right, so let's kick things off with the neck humbucker. Here we go. All right, so let's split that coil. Try that same thing. really nice sound out of those split coils. Now in the middle position is where those coil splits really become useful, offering some pretty cool combinations. So let's start with the neck split and the full humbucker on at the same time. Sounds like this. Now let's flip it. So full humbucker in the neck, split bridge on at the same time. And one of my personal favorites, let's split both. So both are in their single coils, sort of T-style, I guess. Let's try that. Just such a lively sound. Love that tone. All right, so now let's head over to the bridge pickup and play with a touch of dirt. All right, let's try that with the split pickup. All right, so now let's dial in a really warm and full lead tone. Let's split that and try that. So you can definitely hear it doesn't drive the amp into that full distortion, you know, like the humbucker, but it's a really nice choice as well. But yeah, that humbucker really nice. Lots of sustain and fullness. Let's try that in the bridge here. Split that. A little bit more clarity if you wanted to do some more like kind of brighter blue stuff. So back to the humbucker. So some really great tonal options there. Okay, so now let's transition into the overall construction. This is obviously really important, and there are a few issues, but let's start up at the headstock here. Now, I have to say, overall, the look of this headstock is, to me, really aesthetically pleasing. I think I like the, the Harley Benton font. I like the little center logo there, which is most certainly a sticker, but I think it still looks, really nice. And the truss rod cover, just the overall shape of the headstock, I think is really nice. So I think Harley Benton did a good job there. And on this model, we get those keystone tuners, which I also think, just really add to the classic look of this guitar. Now, when we look on the back, they are unbranded tuners. So you're not getting anything like, world-changing in terms of quality, but they're serviceable, and I like the keystone buttons. Now, when we flip the neck around, you can see the headstock tilt back is via a scarf joint right here. And because it's a translucent finish, you can see it. Now, there's nothing wrong with scarf joints. They're tried and true and tested. A very strong joint and a good way to get, headstock tilt back. So lots of painted necks will have this as well, but here you can just see it because of the finish. Other than that, we've got a one-piece maple neck, and as I mentioned, instead of getting like rosewood or ebony or something like that, we get Pau Ferro, which is just slightly lighter in finish. But I still think it looks really nice with the lemon drop. And, you know, it allows them to ship these guitars worldwide. So there you go. Let's take a closer look at some of the other features. All right, so now let's take a closer look at the frets. And here's, you know, the first real area that really shows off, you know, this is not a high-end guitar. And that has to do with the polishing of the frets. If I just take my lapel mic here and just kind of bring it up to the fingerboard and do some bends, what you normally would hear on a guitar is almost nothing, just a very smooth kind of sound. And here's what you hear on the Harley Benton. So I don't know if you guys can hear that. Just really kind of rough and scrapey. Now, when we look at the fret ends on this guitar, I'm just going to touch my mic here. You also notice none of the fret ends are polished, and there's a lot of tooling marks. So I'll show a couple shots from, you know, down low on the guitar, and then when we come up to the higher frets here, you really notice it. It becomes very apparent. So, you know, a nice little polish on the fret ends and on the fret faces would do wonders for this guitar. But like I said, those are just some of the issues that kind of show that this is not a high-end guitar, even though it looks great and I think it sounds really nice and plays nice. There are, you know, a few issues like that that could be addressed. Now, another cosmetic issue with the neck was there was this weird adhesive all the way down the top binding on this guitar. I'll take some shots for you guys. Just looked kind of gross, and I had to kind of scrape it off. Not something that, you know, if you buy a guitar, you should have to do. I mean, on the back of the headstock, it says quality control passed right there. And clearly they didn't look very closely because it should have been scraped off, or they should have used a different piece of binding or whatever. So I had to clean that up. Again, not a huge issue, but something you guys might want to know about. And other than that, like the binding on the body looks really good. You know, where it meets the neck looks really nice. There might be a little filler here or there, but overall really good, and, you know, better than some other guitars in this price range. And I gotta say, the F-holes are cut out really nice too. I'll take an overall shot and then maybe something close up. I had to just clean out a little bit, but, you know, again, in this price range looks really good. The only other really issue, you know, that I could see is, you know, what you would find on Epiphones too. Sometimes, you know, where the posts go into the guitar aren't totally flush to the top. You know, you can just see a little bit of it, and it just needs to be seated better. Now, there's no tilting forward or back, which is really nice. But, you know, in this price range, I guess that can be expected. And other than that, we've got full-size pots as far as I can tell on this guitar too, which is a really nice touch. So I think, you know, quality control is mostly cosmetic kind of stuff. A little bit hit and miss, so, you know, just be aware. Even though Harley Benton has like a really good reputation for the price, you know, it's very unlikely that you'll end up with a perfect guitar. So you just need to know that. So here are my final thoughts on the Harley Benton. Number one, super happy I got a chance to play this guitar. And as you guys know, I've also done reviews of the Firefly and the monoprice versions of this guitar, and some of the same issues with the grittiness on the frets, the, you know, the ugly filed fret ends. That persists upon each one of those brands. So I don't think Harley Benton, you know, stands head and shoulders above the others when it comes to that kind of stuff. And, you know, just some of that glooping adhesive that should have been removed by quality control, that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't say that, you know, in terms of the fit and finish, that the Harley Benton is like head and shoulders above those. I think where it does stand out is you've got the coil splits, which is really nice. You get this really nice finish, and, you know, most areas of this guitar are really well made. So very happy with it. Now, would I wait another 7 months to get one or a different model? No, I wouldn't. I think there are other options. You might have to spend, you know, 50 or $100 more, but the wait times, at least for what I experienced, was really bad. So I wouldn't necessarily wait that long, but if you get a chance to try one out, or they're in stock, I think it's a good buy. This is a good, solid instrument, really fun to play. I think it's aesthetically pleasing, and yeah, really great guitar. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed demos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking my face right here. Rest of my information, including t-shirt store, tab store, and links to the gear I use, will all be down in the video description below. Have yourself a fantastic week.